Hey guys, welcome to the Q&A for day 0, aka the introduction to this mini course. Today I thought it would be really cool to just bust some myths, bust some coaching industry 10K paradigm myths. Even if you've never heard that term before, I think you probably know what I'm getting at, which is basically just this thing that we all slip into when we first start off in the coaching industry, and we see all of these shiny numbers and we're like, oh my gosh, all my dreams will come true and I will finally be worthy when I get that shiny number too. Hey, Anna. So I'm really excited to talk about this. Anna and I were just going back and forth on a post that I just wrote where I talked about the psychology behind why this happens, because I know for me, when I first noticed myself mimicking or copying coaches that I had hired, not just in the systems, but also in the, personality of the coach, I was kind of like, oh my God, that's shameful. How could I lose myself? And I kind of saw it happening and I pretty much ignored it. And it was just this slow evolution, and Anna, maybe you can chime in, where I just began to wake up and realize this earns a lot of money, but I feel like shit. And what I feel happens is as you begin the coaching world, you're pretty new to personal development. You don't really know that much about trauma, about your inner child, about how to take care of yourself, or really, I would say for a lot of people, there's not a huge foundation of self-worth. So you kind of grab and latch on to whoever's telling you this is the way to do it. This is how to achieve your optimum level of success, and you follow it. So I just wanted to create this video, one, to relieve anyone who is feeling shame, blame, or guilt for losing themselves, because it's not your fault. It's not, yeah. Ooh, your last coach. I have lots of stories about that too. We can get into that. Yeah. And even the way that the norm that coaching is taught in, it can be so painful and dangerous for people, especially I think if people have some really deep unresolved trauma, it can trigger a lot for them. And even just when you join a basic program and they're like, show up online, and this is good, we can get into an actual example because I think this will be helpful for people. You might see everybody else able to show up online, but for you, it's well, why can't I show up? It feels like I'm smashing into a glass wall. And when I first started my business, and this is the way I was coaching, there were clients who were able to do the things who ended up being, funnily enough, just like me. And there was those who hit the glass wall. And the thing I kept hearing from my coaches were well, they're just not cut out to be an entrepreneur. And I really believed that. Well, maybe they're just not suited for it. They don't have the personality. I mean, it could be true. There could be lifestyle elements to that, but the deeper understanding of trauma will help you realize why that person cannot force themselves to take action. And so the stuff that I've taught, or at least dropped a few nuggets of wisdom into for day 0, will not only help you understand why you haven't been able to do certain things in your business, no matter how hard you tried, or no matter how much money you spent on coaches, but it will help you understand why your clients cannot just do the things. And that can be really frustrating when you don't understand at a deeper psychological level what is happening to your client. You're just well, they're just frustrating and they're just not an aligned client. And I really would love to help change that. I would love to help give more people the awareness and information to be better coaches, and also the permission and the awareness to heal themselves. Because the process that I embarked on, that even led me here to doing this mini course, to sharing with you guys what I know, was because I had to do the fucking hard healing work on myself. And by healing, I don't mean there's some sunshine and rainbows, I'm gonna do my affirmations and just deny my entire reality and pretend everything's fucking great. And I'll just, what's crazy is I was looking through old journals, and what I had been taught in the beginning of my journey is you have to write out your reality. And it would work in the beginning, right? I would manifest all this money and have these huge launches. And then I began to notice as I read through the entries, they were interspersed with like, I'm really lonely and I don't understand why, like, I feel this way. I just got to have another lunch. And it was like, wow, I was denying my fucking emotional reality because I had absorbed these very surface level, like toxic teachings around manifestation. Because there was this whole, like really what it is a lifestyle that you're buying into. You're buying into the lifestyle of, being a successful online coach. And really underneath it all, what it comes down to is just you're trying to find acceptance and worthiness and a source outside yourself. The funny thing is I had done that in so many other areas of my life before I even started a business. I did it in fitness too. I did it in relationships. So, when I started seeing the exact same fucking pattern in my business where I had like reached the pinnacle of success and was seen as the successful coach, and I felt empty, just like I felt empty when I reached the top of the fitness industry and I won all these awards and was an influencer. I'm like, I swear to God, after I like became an IFBB pro, I binged my face off and gained 15 pounds in 2 weeks. Do I know why that is? Because I didn't understand back then that I could not fill those holes in my heart, the holes that were created in my childhood by events, adverse events, not like mind-blowing abuse, but just small events that were, painful for me, that led me to believe I'm not worthy, I'm not good, my voice doesn't matter, if I speak up I'll get in trouble, or mommy or daddy will explode in anger. I didn't have physical abuse as a child, but there was a lot of emotional abuse that I have come to terms with now this year, actually recognizing it for what it is, manipulation, that I still deal with my mother. And so those relationships, those experiences that you just can't forget in childhood, those are typically the things that create these core rules about who we must be and what we must do to stay safe that will show up in your business over and over again. And you won't recognize them because what you see in the coaching industry is like, you just need more mindset work. You just need to affirm your reality. You just need a system. You just need to be like me, and then you'll attract clients right into your DMs. Oh my God, I hate that shit. I hate it. And I used to do it. That's why I hate it so much. Because really what it is, it's like you're buying into like, hey, if you're just like us, then you'll be good. And people really buy that. You can make a lot of money doing that. I can definitely say that I did. And where that comes from in my childhood is traumatic experiences with bullying, of wanting to fit in with the pretty blonde white girls. And it really is like the same thing happening again in my business. So what I'm trying to say is that as I began to feel, it wasn't really like I didn't know mentally what was happening. I didn't have words to describe what was happening, which is why I'm doing this live stream for you guys and writing these posts, even though I know it's not the sexiest thing in the world, the most marketable. I don't give a shit because I think people need to learn this. And I want to give you guys the permission to let go of the blame and the shame and the guilt for not being as far as you think you could be. Because everyone comes to this world with different lessons to learn and different pain and traumas that will show up in your business. And you're never going to be the same as somebody else. And really, I feel, even just business aside, our journey in general in life is to learn how to identify what these holes in our hearts are and fill them ourselves, not with money, not with men, or women, if that's the way you roll, not with your body, not with anything external. It doesn't work. I really tried so hard. It doesn't work. I can promise you that. It has to come from building a relationship with yourself and like actually getting to know yourself. So that's really my intent with Day Zero, is just giving you a taste of like what it would be like to actually attune to yourself, turn inwards and get to know your own voice, so that you're not constantly reaching for coaching industry paradigms, being like, well, I don't know what the fuck to do or how I feel or what I want, so I guess I want that. And if I look back at some of the things that the reality I used to write out in my fucking journal, it wasn't even my version of success. I'm like, I literally didn't want that life, but I just was so disconnected from myself that that's what I grabbed onto. And a perspective that's really helped me a lot is like, I did the best I could with what I knew at the time. Because for a while I was really like blaming and shaming myself for not, being more self-connected, not knowing better, making crazy coaching investments that were totally unaligned. In the beginning of now we can talk about investments, and I'm going to go back and read your comments too. But in the beginning of my coaching journey, I made a lot of really big investments. My first was $20,000 and I earned it back in 2 weeks. And what I think happens, because there are some people who start out and that's just not the reality. It takes time to build income results. I will definitely say that I was very much in a fight trauma response. So to get into psychology for you guys for just a sec, when you don't feel safe, and starting a business is a recipe for having your nervous system go alert, you're not fucking safe. And when things trigger you that you're being asked to do in your business or things your family say or whatever, you have a trauma response. So that's fight, flight, freeze, fawn. Fawn being oh, I'm going to be just like that coach. I'm going to copy that person. And you don't really know why you do it. Freeze, obviously you're just I have no idea what the fuck to do. Flight, run the fuck away. We've all done that in some kind of way in our business. What was the fourth one I said? Fight. Yeah, so that's what I was doing. I was I'm gonna fucking be the best. I'm gonna do all the damn work. And this is the hustle mentality, right? And I do really feel that fueled me for so long and allowed me to, you guys have seen my personality. I can be incredibly energetic and magnetic. And that fight mechanism allowed me to be like that 24/7 or whenever I showed up online. As I've really attuned to myself, I realized I'm not that way all the time and I can't force myself to be that way. Anyway, the point I'm trying to make is in the beginning, that was my trauma response. And so I was really able to use that and get a lot of financial results very quickly. I was very good at fawning, AKA being other people, doing their systems. Obviously I was showing up as myself. I couldn't actually be them. But that really, really worked to make a lot of money quickly. As I evolved emotionally, mentally, I was in a 2.5 year relationship with a man who's 15 years older than me. It's very sexy. He didn't look that old. But anyway, I digress. I didn't feel safe. So why do you think I chose an older man who was established, right? When you start business and you have not done any kind of healing work on yourself, you're not emotionally aware, you will literally just everything is just a trauma response. Your whole business is just built on I'm not safe. What the fuck do I do about it? We all respond in different ways to I'm not safe. Healing work is also equivalent to creating internal safety. Creating internal safety, that is really what I'm so excited to share with you guys, because it's been things like giving myself time, crazy, right? It takes time to build a business. It takes time to build a business that feels really good for you, that's sustainable. Yeah, Anna. That is fun, that I actually enjoy with work I really want to do. So that all takes time. And one of the biggest things that has changed my fucking life, one is learning about trauma, learning about your emotions, going to therapy so that you don't push all of your shit down 24/7 and never truly acknowledge how you feel or what your truth is. And living in that whole manifestation bullshit reality that isn't real, because you think if you feel anything negative, then you might manifest it and your business will fail. Oh my God, how many times have we all thought that? But anyway, breath work. So there's the external sense of safety we can create by structuring our businesses in ways that support us feeling really safe. Not, for example, having a business model that doesn't require you to launch something new every month. Because let's say that one of your core wounds is fear of rejection. You had a really bad experience when you were a child, maybe this actually happened to a client of mine. She was molested by her grandfather. And when she went to her mother to share that, her mother just didn't even acknowledge her. And from that moment on, in her mind, it was I'm not worthy. So I'm crying because I'm thinking about her right now. I'm not worthy and I don't matter, and my experience in reality isn't real. So if you can imagine somebody like that, and not all trauma is that severe and deep. It can be very surface level, my dad putting me in timeout and basement in the dark. Like, whenever I was in online trouble and the trolls came out, I would literally run the fuck away in the dark. I put myself in the quote unquote dark. I at one point even deleted a 34,000 person Instagram. That's how deep this trauma response was for me. What a trauma response really is these are the rules we learn as children about who we are, about what we have to do to be safe. And they stay with us until adulthood. And we keep doing them until we wake up, until we're in this this personal development world long enough to start to notice how we actually feel about what we're doing and what feels good and what doesn't, and start to be exposed to hopefully people like me who might plant the seed of the idea in your mind, like, well, what if it didn't have to be that way? And what if there's a reason you don't feel good and there's a way to build your business that's different than the 10K paradigm that makes you feel yuck? That was really where my seed of awakening started, which is why I named this live stream releasing the 10K coaching paradigms, because that is the first thing that came up for me, where I was like, whoa, that doesn't feel right. But I don't really understand why, because it makes money, so it must work. And everybody else is doing it. Here's the part where I get into my story. I'm going to save questions till the end, because if I stop talking, I will literally forget where I'm at, because ADD. So really it was this knowing, and then things kind of just stopped working. I tried to launch this mastermind and 2 people signed up, and they even got financial results pretty quick. And then all of a sudden they both asked for refunds. And they were like, Christy, you just feel different. And I was like, what the fuck? I've been showing up just as much. What is happening? And it was this just slow crumbling. I went also to a leadership conference, and that pretty much blew up my world, because they were like, what are you pretending not to know? It's a conference meant to just strip all of your bullshit and masks away. And so I went, and I realized I have to leave the relationship and I need to move to LA, which I'd been saying I was going to do for 3 years. It was an intuitive nudge, and I had this thought, well, when I move there, I'm going to finally be this super successful influencer and make so much more money. It's just going to skyrocket my success. Well, I moved there, and the funny thing is, you guys, that when you move or you go on vacation, your shit follows you if you don't heal it. So much shit followed me there. This is, if you guys remember the 15K in 15 days money mindset and sales challenge, this was exactly the time that I did that. And I was trying to do a second round when I moved, find an apartment. I had just been through a breakup, literally flew home from the conference, broke up with him, moved out, got on a plane 2 weeks later, and I was in California. And I just began to feel all of the things come up that I had pushed down. And if you're a human being growing up in this decade, or a millennial, you're raised by parents who just do not have the context or the information to even be emotionally intelligent or teach their children how to be emotionally aware human beings. So I didn't have the skills or understanding hey, Christy, it's a good idea to acknowledge your emotions and difficult feelings, because if you don't, they're gonna explode and it's not gonna be cute. For some people who are just super repressed and don't even have exposure to this personal development world, it might not even ever happen. I know my mother, for example, it's probably never gonna happen. And that's the reality that a lot of people live in, honestly. But that was my first, I would say my second piece of this journey of understanding trauma in business and the subsequent total redoing of my whole business structure and philosophy, which is what I'm giving you guys in the mini course, because I really want to share what I've learned with you, because I know it will help so many people. So I want to show you guys this. I cried for 2 weeks, and I was like, okay, I'm just going to give myself 2 weeks to cry, then I'm going to go back to doing all the things and earning the money, and then I'll be okay, and I'll be safe. And then after 2 weeks passed, I was like, I don't think this is going to be 2 weeks. And that's kind of how healing goes. When you first learn, there's some deeper feelings of unworthiness and just not enoughness and fear of rejection and abandonment and all this shit, it's kind of like a volcano. So if you guys have know anything about self-healing, or have started to maybe learn about what an inner child is and self-abandonment and all like core wounds, then you already know that it's like a volcano, and it can be really scary and confronting. I knew I could feel that for myself. Like I thought I could just go back to my business and it'd be totally fine. And I basically went into this cycle where I was like kind of learning about self-healing, or like trying to feel my feelings and go to therapy, but also like, nah, I don't really have time for that shit. Like basically I just gonna launch something again, and this time it'll be different. So Anna, this is where I hired a $7,000 a month strategy coach, because I was like, oh, well, therapy isn't really it. That's nice, but you know, whatever. And all of these like mindset things and affirmations and journaling my reality, like haven't worked. So it must be that I need another coach that's super expensive, because how many times have we been told this like basically marketing paradigm? This is another 10K marketing paradigm. Well, when you spend more money, you're more invested. I will say that was true in the very beginning of my business, when I was like not even a smidgen of self-awareness. Like I was in the hustle fight, I get shit done, earn money to prove myself mode. That's when it worked. The more self-aware you become, it just stops working. And so anyway, I like was, 3 months deep into that, and I was like, I don't think this is it. I don't think I need this $7,000 a month coach. Around this time, I came across this woman who talked about trauma and selling. And it was the first time that I don't even know what she said, but it was like a little light bulb clicked in my head. And I was like, oh, like maybe the reason why like the things that used to work in my business to make money and like get this shit done and be successful that doesn't work anymore is like so much deeper. Maybe it's like this trauma thing. What is that? I don't have trauma. I wasn't raped. So like Anna said, trauma can be the smallest of things. Like I shared with you guys, my dad putting me in timeout in the basement in the dark, my Chinese dad, or the time that I got straight A's for the first time, and he was like, well, are you gonna do it again next semester? Which, I connected to why I would always set an income goal, and then before I even reached it, I would make it higher, so I could never actually reach a goal. Like reach a goal and feel satisfied. So why do you think like I, got this bodybuilding trophy and then binged my face off for 2 weeks after? It was just like this constant repeating of the story of like, you're not enough. You have to always perform and do more in order to like receive love and attention. So this is an example of like the childhood like rules. I call them rules. I interchange that term with trauma. Because I think rules is probably like less intimidating to you guys, but also you're grown-ass women and you can handle an intimidating word, pretty sure. All right, now I'm gonna look at comments, because playing dead has always been my go-to. Unless it's physical danger, then I do fight or flight. I also played dead. Yeah. Well, I'll have to go back and look at these later, because I'm sure I resonate with all of them. But anyway, to show you guys this book, I came across that woman, and she mentioned this author called Margaret Paul, and she has a different book called Healing Your Aloneness. And I'm like, well, I feel alone, so I'm gonna read that book. I read her free PDF. I'll post that in the comments so you guys can read it. But when I read that PDF, I was like, this makes so much fucking sense. It's like I have an inner child, and this is an introduction to the book for you guys and trauma in general. But we each have an inner child, like a part of us that never grows up, a part of us that still needs love and tending to and attention. Typically, we're brought up in ways that teach us, well, your needs are not important, so your stuff doesn't matter. And we self-abandon. We self-abandon by ignoring and pushing down our feelings with shitty affirmations to deny our reality. We overwork, we overstimulate, we have sex with people we shouldn't, we sabotage with our money and go into debt or do excessive spending. Stuff that's probably all coming up for you guys. Hopefully not all of those things in the pandemic, when we don't feel safe. And so like a big part of my journey as I started to read that from this author was like, whoa, I need to create a relationship with myself, with my inner child. Because when my inner child is upset, like imagine a kid and you're like, your stuff doesn't matter. Oh, like you're hungry? No, you're working right now. You better keep working. Like, I don't want to hear you cry. I don't want to hear you upset. You're not allowed to have feelings. Like, no, you just got to get your shit done. Can you imagine saying that to a child? And how would a child react if you said that to them? They would shut down. They would learn, oh, I'm not really important, so I don't really need to talk to you. Like, I'm just going to go over here and hide. And then people wonder, well, why can't I show up online? Why don't I have any ideas? Well, I don't know. Maybe it's because you just like shut yourself down for so many years. That's definitely something I experienced. And even to this day, whenever I feel stuck with my messaging and my content, and we'll go into this in day 5 of the mini course, I realized that, I must not have been listening to myself and what I need and want and desire recently, because I feel totally cut off and disconnected from my inner voice. And not just my voice with my business, but like life in general. And I know that I'm feeling disconnected when I start to like get anxious, or I start to overwork and I realize like I don't even want to do this thing that I've been working on. Why the fuck am I doing this? Little signals like that. And by creating a relationship with yourself, learning about trauma, learning about self-healing, and really just gaining emotional awareness and working on yourself, you'll start to notice your own patterns. You'll start to notice your behaviors from a place of curiosity rather than a place of like, well, why the fuck aren't you doing better? Just do more mindset work and get more done, earn more money. Anna, I always made as without trying. My parents never acknowledged those, so you learn not to try. Yeah. We each have different stories and patterns. Actually, one of the questions I want to leave you guys with is, what are the ways that maybe you have been approaching your business, either the way you work in it or the way that you've built it, from your heart, from these like deeper, more painful wounds that you might be discovering right now, rather than your heart. And I want to give you guys a practical example. Like something someone said to me a few months ago was, Christy, I don't ever like sell long programs because I'm afraid they might leave me. Like I'm afraid I might not be able to get them results like beyond 4 months. This is another coaching industry paradigm. It's like, why is it always 4 months? In my opinion, 4 months is typically the time frame people teach others to use, because one, like when you charge the full high ticket price, it's not like astronomical typically. So people make the hurt choice to shorten it so that it's more like desirable to someone else. And when you make a choice in your business from a place of like, I hope they like me, I just need to get them to say yes, that's not an intent that is serving the client. It's an intent that comes from fear of rejection. And when you say like, well, I don't even know what I would teach them for 9 months, or like what the point of a 9-month program would be, or anything longer than that, it really suggests that like you believe that you must be physically there controlling and like forcing these people to get results every step of the way. And that there's like a short time frame, and so there's a short time frame to get results, and like they'll take lots of action, things like that. What I've learned through my own experience and also coaching on like self-healing and business together is that true transformation takes a lot of time. And a lot of the really big shifts that happen don't happen when I'm around. I'm there to drop nuggets of wisdom. And then look at all my plants, they flower and blossom into something that is totally unique to each and every client. So like when I realized I need to give myself time to really get to know myself again and to heal these like deeper like fears of rejection and abandonment, I realized, oh shit, I gotta give my clients time. And I also realized, oh shit, like, yeah, I have really cool skills to teach people how to sell and market and make lots of money. But what I'm missing is the piece that I'm integrating right now, which is how do I help them do that forever? It's easy to help somebody get a surface level result quickly, especially if they're in like a fight trauma response. But I really asked myself, like, how could I create a foundation for that person to be able to create results for the rest of their life, the rest of their business? And I realized I had to fucking do that for myself first. So what I'm sharing with you guys in the mini course is essentially all these different lessons I learned about what it really takes to build a foundation. In the mini course, I'm not going into so much of the trauma healing like content that I'm actually going to be covering in a mastermind that you guys can join if you would like. That goes along with this mini course as the next step. But I wanted to give you guys some actionable like steps or things that you can use to tweak or restructure your business for next year. Because I know for me, like when I actually have a vision or I see how my business could look different in a way that would support me to have more energy or have more fun, or really be more connected with my work, like that's the biggest gift of all. And when you're working on healing yourself, it isn't the sexiest or most rewarding thing to have to dig into all your deep wounds right out the get-go. It is something that needs to be done over time, but I do think that it helps to do it slowly. It helps to like be building your business in conjunction with doing the healing, because it helps give you these like little rewards along the way. It helps you see like, here's the payoff, so that you're not just like this volcano eruption of emotion. I'm like, I don't even know why I'm doing this. This is so overwhelming. So through my own experience, learning how to do this deeper work on myself and build my business in a way that felt good, I realized like, well, the way I need to teach it to you guys is like, imagine structure, healing, like this. And what I also realized is that as you build your business, or in some cases rebuild, all of your shit will come up. So there's like the initial stuff that you get to work on and heal if you've never done it before, never gone within. But as you go through life, as shit happens to you, like, I don't know, a global pandemic, you get triggered. You know, even as you scroll online, you see someone you compare yourself to, you get triggered. Self-healing, what I've come to learn, is literally in the moment. In the moment that you get triggered or you feel pain and you don't understand like why it's so hard for you to launch your program or why all of like these fears are coming up, that is actually the moment to implement self-healing. And I teach that through a process. And like we can do it right now. Like, so for example, like even me getting ready to launch this program, this mastermind that I'm doing, all of my crap came up. Literally, it took me like a fucking week to get over it. But what I have learned is that when I suppress and deny the feelings I have coming up or the fears, and I fucking put them in my backpack, they're like rocks and they weigh me down, and I'm way more likely to go like sabotage or run away. So I give the stuff, the difficult feelings and pain that I used to suppress with affirmations, time to come up and process them. Like the first step is awareness. So learning about trauma, learning about self-healing, getting aware of your feelings and your patterns when they come up instead of numbing or avoiding. So I would definitely say awareness, like you can achieve that through learning about all these things that I'm sharing with you. Because when you learn, then you begin to apply that and like look at your own life and be like, wow, oh, this isn't really about like me comparing myself. Like this is something so much deeper. So it allows you to see things for what they really are. And the second part of that is like, you just feel that shit. You let it come up. It might come out in tears. It might come out in screaming. It might, who knows how it might come out. But the important thing is that you let the emotion be whatever it is. And a big piece of this is you have to release your subconscious beliefs about what pain will do to you. Because, I mean, ask yourself, what do you believe like is so scary about feeling pain, feeling painful feelings? And what I felt back when I started this is like, I couldn't handle it. Like I would not be able to handle it if I let all of my shit come up at once. And really like, it was a belief I'd grown up with of like, you shouldn't share your feelings. You should just be fucking stoic and like achieve stuff in life. So I had to unlearn those beliefs about what my pain meant, and including the ones about manifestation, where it's like, if you feel your pain, you'll manifest it. So the fucking opposite. If you want to manifest anything, you need to be clear of all of the shit you're holding on to. The fucking plant gnats are still here, you guys. I have this, I know I've been killing them. They were in my live stream yesterday. I've been spraying them with soap water. Every little one. They're breeding in my plant soil. So, processing the emotion, feeling it, which is what I'm sharing right now with you guys. Like this, you can use this right now for what's happening with the pandemic, because there's so much stuff and difficult feelings that are coming up. And particularly when you are forced to pause and slow down, that's when it all surfaces. So I would not be surprised. Fucking gnat. I can't spray on my computer. Got him. I'm prepared on this live stream. what was I saying? Right, okay. The next piece of it is healing through action. So let's say that one of your triggers is that you have a really difficult time stating your truth, or asking for what you need, or confronting somebody. Okay, like maybe it's a friend that ditched you, and normally you wouldn't say anything. But if the core pattern is you don't speak your truth and you don't give yourself what you need, if you let it go, you're perpetuating the pattern, because what's happening subconsciously is your nervous system is like, this isn't safe, this isn't good. It's remembering an event from your past which made you feel incredibly unsafe and taught you that like your needs are not important. You really are not that important, and people will just forget about you and reject you, and that's normal, no matter how you feel inside. To change that, you have to really show your nervous system, hey, it's safe now. Like, it is safe to say my truth. It is safe to ask for what I need. And no matter what this person says, I know that this action is going to be healing for me. So I literally imagine, like, when I'm doing this, and I've done this before, there's like a little screaming child inside me. My inner child's like, no, we cannot. We're not going to be okay. Stop it. And I'm just like, you know what, girl? Like, you just have your freak out. It's okay. It's okay. But we're going to do this anyway. Because when we take action, we can move forward. We can heal. You'll learn over time that it's safe to speak your truth, and pretty soon you're going to be doing it over and over again, no matter like what comes up in life. And when you do it in your personal life, then you can do it in your business life. And it won't be this whole big thing when you go to post online and you wonder what people are going to think of you, or if they'll think you're a greedy, crazy asshole if you tell them to buy your program or do your mini course. Like, I don't think about that stuff now, but maybe in the past I would have. So that is like what I teach in self-healing, and what I've learned about applying it to business and just in doing it in general is like, it is not a one-time thing. This shit takes a long time, and there will be so many times where you go in and out of doing this, of like modes of like really being in it and like paying attention to the stuff I'm sharing, and modes where you forget it because you get all in your head, or you get busy with work or your business. And so it's so helpful. Actually, I wouldn't say helpful. I would say it's literally necessary to have an accountability space, whether that is a therapist who's trauma-informed or a trauma-informed coach. Feel free to hit me up if you want to work with me. But it's important to be able to voice these deeper things that are coming out, or I would say that you're not letting to come out, because you have that accountability each week. And the most important part about whatever space you choose is that you feel safe, and you feel seen, and you feel not judged, no matter what you say or tell that person. And I think that is also something really important to take away and apply to the work that you do with clients, is like, if you want somebody to really be honest with you and have a healthy relationship with you, because what you have with a client is a relationship that needs to be worked on. Trust is not given on day one. It is built over time, and it is earned. You earn your client's trust. That is what creates truly like a fucking strong coaching relationship that will help that client achieve like lasting transformation. They feel safer to actually take action and get results, because they know that you're there for them, whether they do it or they don't do it, whether they're scared or they're not, whether they fail or they win. What that requires is a detachment from your client's results. Yeah, that requires that you take your self-worth out of whatever results your clients do or do not achieve, and understand that the ultimate value you're giving somebody is helping them with their own journey, their own transformation, whatever that looks like for them, whatever timeline, however long that takes, whatever results look like for them, whether it's like just show up online every day or have a $100,000 launch. The moment they feel judged by you, you've stopped being a benefit to them. Yeah, and like something I've learned through my experiences coaching is like people really need to be taught how to be a good like client, how to be in a relationship with a coach. And I actually have this document now that I send my clients, and it's called All of Your Shit That Will Come Up. Because what I realized is like a lot of my client, well, every person really has the same patterns that will come up over and over again. And when you just have them look at this document, and I've listed out like a lot of the different potential ways that they might like want to flee, fight, freeze, or fawn the trauma responses. I don't phrase them in the sense of trauma responses, but I like list out all these pretty common scenarios where clients will just like, want to ghost out or project their shit onto you. And when you do this with your clients in the beginning, whenever problems do come up or they do ghost you, you just point them back to the document and be like, let's have a conversation about this. Let's figure out like what's holding like you in this cycle. Where does it really come from? And let's work on this together. And so like, as I've done this deeper work on myself, one of the things that has changed is my perspective on coaching, and how I see my work with clients is like, it is a relationship. In order to have a really healthy and supportive relationship with your clients, you have to have a healthy and supportive relationship with yourself. I know, it's mind-blowing. And with other people. So the healing work that you do is like, not just like, this will be great for business. It will be, but also it'll be so wonderful for your personal life, your relationship with your family, and your relationship with your significant other and your friends. The more self-aware I have become, like my best friend Crystal, the other day, a few weeks ago, I was like, I just feel, this is not about you at all, but I feel like really insecure and I feel really self-conscious because of this thing that your boyfriend said, and I love you so much. It's totally not about you. I just need some time and probably not going to come visit this time. And she's like, it's all good. I love that we're just such self-aware best friends, and we know that we can like come to each other with however we feel. We don't make it or project our shit onto each other, and we can be who we are and express how we feel without each other taking it personally. Like, that is a fucking healthy relationship. And there was a point in time where she and I, like, we were so fucking, we loved each other so much, but we were so hurting at the same time. And I fled. That was my thing, as I would flee relationships when things got hard, or when I felt the first touch of like rejection or abandonment. And still to this day, that's part of like one of the things I'm working on, even in relationships, is like abandonment wounds, and having that really hurt. Just like having a mother that was not present in my life, and the pain of that I still feel because she's still not present in my life. The other piece of this, and I think this could be helpful because I think a lot of coaches and healers come from childhoods like this, where there's a parent that you have to constantly save or really be a parent to. And you learn that to get love and get attention and approval, you have to like save that person, save that parent. And so you kind of adopt this like saving mentality as a child, like this is my identity. And when you're someone that saves people, you have to become very sensitive to other people's feelings and emotions. And so a lot of us here are empaths or HSPs or intuitive. My theory, and I've seen this written a couple of times, but it comes from, like having to be so on guard and like really alert and high alert from a young age, highly sensitive to your parents' like feelings. My father had very explosive anger out of nowhere, like literally out of nowhere. So the reason I'm a fucking anxious person, not as much anymore, I don't want to identify in one way, it's kind of a blanket statement, but it was because I had to always be on alert. And so sometimes even to this day, like things that are totally normal, like I will get in my head and overthink and spin, because when I was a child, I didn't know what I would say. Like there wasn't one like type of thing that could set them off. It was really like anything. And so that's kind of where this overthinking trauma response came. And like I said, as you grow awareness for like what your core wounds are, and begin to reflect on where do they show up in my life and therefore in my business, that's the first step to really overcoming them. Is it an easy journey? No. Is it sexy? No. But is it worth it to become a person who really feels whole inside, regardless of how your business does or doesn't do, how much money you do or don't make, or how people respond or like you or don't like you? It is so fucking worth it, because really what I realized is that is the thing that I wanted the whole time when I was searching for external validation. I just wanted to feel whole inside. I just didn't understand that at the time. And from wholeness, you can actually make choices to build your business, share your message, do your work in the world that feel good. You're like, wow, this is just coming from like really real, authentic Christy and what she fucking wants. It's freeing. It feels good. I'm not like that all the time. Of course not. Like, my shit still comes up, and that is when I apply my own self-healing process to myself. Like I did last week before I started this mini course. I was just like, oh, I gotta do like 15 rounds of breath work a fucking day. That's the other piece, is somatic healing. Really like the movement of body and like using your breath to release the tension stored in your nervous system. That, like I said, has been a really big game changer. I'll also post that for you guys. I'll do a whole post with these resources. I've been doing that since July, and I swear to God, right away, within the first month of starting breath work, like I didn't have period cramps that made me like crippled. My level of anxiety went from like 90 to 20% within like 2 weeks. And I just noticed like the thinking patterns that I had were so different. Like I didn't go to bed at night like freaked out like I hadn't done enough. There was like this moment 3 weeks into it where I was like, whoa, I feel fine. I feel like I did enough. And that was a blessing, because I honestly couldn't remember a night that I hadn't gone to bed like that my whole life. So there's something to be said for doing the external like creation of safety like we talked about, but there's also this like decalibration, I'm trying to think of a better word, but you know what I mean, like deregulation, that's what it is, of your nervous system. Because when you think about your childhood, like I was saying with my dad, where I'm sure like most of you guys had some similar type of childhood, because otherwise you probably wouldn't be here. But anyway, your nervous system has been in fight or flight mode since you were a child, and it's gonna take some time to like teach yourself how to like relax and how to start to feel safe. And also keep in mind you're doing that while the world is in a global pandemic. So literally, you walk out of the house and you don't know if you are gonna get COVID. Well, maybe if you're in New Zealand, you don't feel that way. But over here in America, we definitely do. And that is a lot. Everything that has happened this year is a lot. So if you're feeling foggy, if you're feeling just confused and lost, part of it is that you're living in a world that's literally not safe, in addition to, the trauma that you still get to heal. Yes, having grace. I think for me, grace means like knowing that I'm human and having compassion for myself wherever I'm at, and like practicing this. Like, I love you, Christy. I had a post-it note above my bed for a long time. I love you, Christy. I'm proud of you, Christy. You're doing such a great job, Christy. Stuff that I hadn't told myself really at all my whole life. Stuff that I was still wanting other people to tell me. And I'll leave you guys with this question. A thing that really helped me rebuild my relationship with myself is, what do you need, like wanting from other people that you need to give yourself right now? And that just kind of became my sensor for everything. Whenever I felt awful or anxious, I would try to tune in and figure out what is it that I'm really needing to give myself, that I'm trying to get through like overworking or whatever. And sometimes it would just be like, go watch Grey's Anatomy and lie in bed, Christy, which is what I'm gonna do after this, and do nothing. So on that note, this is a really cool live stream. Let me know your takeaways. Let me know if anything resonated for you, if you're new to this work, or you've had any epiphanies about the ways that you built your business from hurt, or maybe even areas of your life or relationships where you're coming from like a hurt need to control and stay safe, that you'd really like to release. Hot chocolate and Christmas movies, Anna Marie, fuck yeah. Cool. So day 1, today was day 0, and this was really the emotional, like internal foundation that I wanted to set before giving you guys the different strategy pieces. But to give you a preview, one of the things I really realized is that when I was following the 10K like coaching paradigm thing, it was always like sales, marketing, like launching, and then what do we want to talk about? Messaging, and like what do we want to teach? Let's make up a program so we can make some money. And it totally just like thinking about this, it's like you're trying to build a house without a foundation. The whole reason we build business is because we have a body of work we want to share. We've been on a journey. We have specific teachings and like ways that we want to lead people on it. And so we need to get clear on what the fuck that is. And if you've been going through a lot of life changes this year, then, you know, your body of work and your beliefs about how you coach and like how you get your clients results and what you believe success really is, that's probably changed. And I know for me that like for a long time, I kept trying to sell my like high ticket sales like skills and like teach people to get the money and marketing. And it always felt off. I kept sabotaging it. I'm like, why? Like, I don't get it. I don't fucking get it. And I realized, well, that's because my beliefs and values have changed about what I teach. And I really believe in the stuff that I just shared with you guys here because that's what changed my life. And I know I'm not gonna feel an integrity selling my work until I put this stuff in my programs, period. Because I'm just a very, like, it's like my body is like this like honesty sensor. It's like I cannot do things that are a lie. Now that I'm healed, I should say. Now that I'm not in a trauma response in my business anymore, I just cannot fucking be out of integrity. It doesn't work. I can't sell. And if you're anything like that, then it's very likely that you feel the same way. And so tomorrow we're just gonna take an inventory of like, what are the new pieces of your body of work that we need to integrate with your like existing expertise, maybe the surface level stuff of like your skills, your knowledge that you like use to help get your clients tangible results, integrating that with the stuff that you know to be true in your heart about what your clients really need for long-term success. That's what's going to create this like feeling of inspiration and passion and desire to really like get back in momentum with your business again in 2021. Because I think we all need a year of fucking redemption. So that's what's coming tomorrow. If you're not on my email list, make sure that you message me to get on it because that's how I'm delivering the modules. And I'll notify you when I'm going live and we can jam on this and apply it to your business, or if you have questions, we'll do it live. So that's it. And I hope you guys have a wonderful night. Enjoy your hot chocolate, Anna, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye.